Yes.
And if we need to be in a skiff, we'll have those
Yes.
conversations in a skiff. Senator Barrasso.
Well, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Let me just say I agree with Senator Murphy and the comments that he just made. I think we ought to get answers to these questions. I think these are legitimate questions to be answered, and the administration ought to answer the questions. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to Senator Murphy as well. I wanted to talk about cutting off arms to Israel. Israel is one of our nation's closest allies. On October 7th, Hamas brutally murdered men, women, and children in Israel. I've seen the videos. American citizens were among the individuals killed, injured, kidnapped, held hostage. The death and destruction of these terrorists is shocking. Hamas continues to hide in populated areas. Hamas continues to use civilians as human shields. With the serious threats in the region, I think it's more important than ever for Israel to quickly receive everything it needs to defend itself, to eliminate Hamas. Yet the Biden administration is doing the complete opposite at this point. Last week, President Biden announced he was cutting off shipments of ammunition and weapons to Israel. I want to be clear, this is happening while one of our strongest allies in the Middle East is at war with terrorists, murderers. The people of Israel deserve a partner and a friend that it can trust, not one that leaves in the face of terrorism and terrorists alone. The administration should be ashamed, I believe, of its actions. These are the weapons Israel needs to defeat Hamas, to defend its people against additional attacks from Iran and from its proxies. Last week, 48 U.S. senators introduced a resolution condemning the decision by the Biden administration. We must be taking every step possible to expedite the delivery of these important weapons.
Senator will suspend.
Killing innocent children, mothers, families, genocide,
Senator Barrasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I was saying, the people of Israel deserve a partner and a friend that it can trust, not one that leaves it to face terrorists alone. I think that the administration should be ashamed of its actions, and there are weapons Israel needs to defeat Hamas and defend its people against additional attacks from Iran and its proxies. So last week, 48 U.S. senators introduced a resolution condemning the decision by the Biden administration. I think we must be taking every step possible to expedite the delivery of these important weapons, not putting up new barriers and obstacles in the way. So do you support the U.S. blocking weapons from going to Israel?
Thank you, Senator, for your question. Just want to say from the very beginning that our support to Israel is ironclad. And this administration has shown its strong support in very many ways, including President Biden being the first president to be in Israel during a wartime situation, all the support that we have provided to Israel at the UN, thanks to the bipartisan support for the appropriations that we were able to, and you were able to provide for us to continue to give weapons to Israel. And of course, we are very concerned about the loss of life by Hamas and what they've done in Israel, but also by the loss of life by the Palestinians who are also caught up in this war. And as you may know, there have been conversations that President Biden has had with Israel about the situation in Rafah and the concern that we have just about the particular bombs that were going to go there, the 2,000-pound bombs that we had already notified, and we had informed Israel that going into Rafah could result in us not providing some weapons to them. Today, as you probably know, we have put in review $1 billion worth of equipment to go to Israel. That was a pause. We are still considering the situation there, and we continue to work with Israel and have conversations with them on these issues on a regular basis. But I just want to highlight that we will continue to provide Israel with all of the funding that you have provided us in the supplemental. As I noted, we have provided them today with tiered with the $1 billion.
And my concerns are that there are other countries looking in on this as well. And if they say, well, how can we expect us to be good partners with them if at this time we're withholding weapons? So the question is, given recent reports of the administration asking for approval from Congress for a new arms shipment, why is the administration holding up weapons now? This is something that was just approved.
As I said, thank you again. As I said, that these are specific weapons that we have concerns about. The loss of civilians that could be used if these bombs are used. But as I said, we are continuing to provide Israel with arms. We will make sure they get all the arms that you've been appropriating to us, and we will continue to.
One more question, but my follow-up to that would be that some of these bombs are to get to the fact that these tunnels are so far underground, and that's used as a hiding place by the Hamas, and we've seen that, and I think there's been a surprise to many that how the extent of the tunnels and the depth of the tunnels, and that the attention of some of these armaments are to get to specifically to that. But I just want to ask a quick question on China. So during your confirmation process, you committed to me in writing that you would work with U.S. allies and partners to urge Beijing to engage meaningfully with the United States on arms control. The 2022 Nuclear Posture Review said China has embarked on an ambitious expansion, modernization, diversification of its nuclear forces, of which you're well aware. Went on to say that by China expanding its nuclear options, it could allow for them to include nuclear coercion, limited nuclear first use in their employment strategy. Can you share with the committee how many engagements you actually have had with the Chinese officials specifically on their nuclear weapons ambitions and expansion?
Thanks for your question. I can go back and think about the exact times. I mean, we had the official engagement in November. I've met with individuals several times on the margins of other meetings that I've been to. Same with other colleagues in my bureaus. So we've had conversations. What we're looking for is a sustained dialogue that we can count on a regular basis. That's what we're really looking for.
It sounds like we're not having that at this point.
Excuse me?
It sounds like that's not going on at this point. Based on their decisions, probably not your decision.
Right, it's not happening at this point, but we need to keep trying to make it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Van Hollen.
Thank